Hello there and welcome to this week's video, and it's a tutorial today and I'm hoping to be able to make some sunflowers and maybe some other flowers too, but this time, because I have made some in the past as pin badges, I'm really hoping to be able to make them on stalks, so they act more as a kind of decoration this time around. So yeah, let's go see how I get on. So to start, I need to make some stalks for my flowers, so I'm just going to cut some bamboo sticks in half, like so. And to ensure that the polymer clay has something to really stick to and, you know, doesn't fall off, I'm just going to rough up the ends of my sticks like so, just with my scissors. And obviously I'd advise caution with scissors, you know, you need to be careful. And at the ends I need to add on some polymer clay, so I'm just going to mould some clay like so. And what I want to do is basically make a golf tee shape. So there we go, that's pretty golf tee shape. And incidentally, if you want to make your flower at an angle, which would work particularly well with the sunflower, you just need to angle the golf tee like so, so it looks kind of like an apple earbuds. So now I need to bake my stalks, so I've just popped them on some parchment paper like so. So they're now off to the oven, and at this point you'll need to refer to your own brand of polymer clay's baking instructions. So I'm going to start with my daisy. So I've got some really nice yellowy clay here with a slight orange tint to it. So I'm just going to mould that around the golf tee like so. And once I'm happy with that, I'll use my ball tool here to create a little pattern. And I'm trying to make the dots in a fairly uniform style pattern, just to make it look a little neater. So I'm going for almost like a honeycomb kind of pattern really. And if you do need to rest your pieces while you're working on some other elements, I'd suggest you just pop them in a little cup. Now I'm moving on to the petals, and I'm going to be using some of my cutout tools, but you can always make your own with a tea light casing, and I'll link to another video down below which will show you how I made them previously. But with my cutout tool I just need to make some very basic petal shapes, and once I've got a load of those I need to start adding them like so, and you'll see I'm just pressing down on one end of the petal so it attaches better to the central piece really. And there we go, my first layer of petals are all done. So you should find your flower should look a little like this at this stage. So I'm going to move on to my second layer, and what I'm trying to do is just place the petals so that they appear essentially between the previous petals on layer 1. So layer 2 is all done now, so I'm going to start on my third and final layer. And there we go, that's the third layer all done, and it's looking remarkably like a daisy now, thankfully. So basically I just want to neaten off the bottom really, so I'm just making some teeny tiny leaf shapes with some green polymer clay, and I'll just add them to the bottom like so. So it basically looks a lot neater really. And with my wet wipe I'm just going to press those little green leaves into the base like so. And there we have it, my daisy is all done, so I'm just going to pop that to one side while I work on the tulip. So for my tulip I'm going to use a smaller golf tee, and for the centre I'm just going to use some really lovely purple clay here. and I just need to attach that to the base like so. And I'm just going to wrap a length of the purple clay around the piece just so it sticks well to the base, and I'll just try and mould that together. So for the petals, I've got some really lovely Fimo Effect clay here in a sort of hot pink, and it's kind of pearlescent, so it should work well on the finished piece. So with my cutout tool, I just need to make some petal shapes like so. And once I've got a few of those, what I need to do is just basically start stretching out the petal. And it's helpful to use a wet wipe as well, just to neaten off the edges, as you'll see here. Basically, I find that the neater you are with your work, the better your end result will often be, really. And then I'll attach that to the base. And basically I'll just keep adding my petals like so. I'm freestyling all of these today actually. They're the first attempts, so I'm hoping that they come together pretty well at the ends. And this technique would work well for a rosebud shape as well actually. I might well do a rosebud at some point in the future, so let me know if you'd like to see that. And with the tulip, you could always add some details inside the flower as well if you want to, but I'm just going to keep it sort of super simple for today. So that looks pretty like a tulip, so I'm just going to use my wet wipe just to really mould that in at the bottom. And there we go, it's all done, so I'm just going to pop that to the side while I work on my sunflower. So I've got a fairly large golf tee here, and I'm going to start by wrapping some pretty dark brown clay around the top. So there we go, and once that's done I'll just pop that to one side. And now I've got some really lovely yellow clay here, so I'm just going to create a load of petals with my cutout tool here. And again, you can make your own little tool with a tea-light casing if you prefer. And I want to make my petals a little smaller, so I'm just going to cut into them again with my tool. And once they're all done, I can start adding them to my sunflower, like so. And I'll just keep going until my first layer of petals is complete. So I'm going to start on my second layer here, and as with my daisy, I'm just trying to ensure that you can see the petals between those on the first layer. And once layer 2 is all done, I'm going to start on layer 3. I'm just really pressing those in so they attach well. So now the third and final layer is all done, and your flower should look a little like this. And once the third layer is all done, I can start working on the centerpiece, and what I'm doing is adding absolutely tons of teeny tiny little brown balls to the sunflower. And this process is actually quite time consuming, so I'd make sure that you've got lots of free time, certainly to make the sunflower. And I need to make a central piece for my sunflower, so I've mixed some of the brown clay with some black to make it ever so slightly darker. And with my needle tool, I'm just going to create a load of texture, basically, like so. And once that's done, I'm just going to continue with making loads and loads of little balls. So that's come together pretty well actually. So to neaten off the bottom, as it looks a little scruffy, I'm just going to create a load of little green petal shapes or leaf shapes, and just add them on like so. And there's the last. And I'm just going to press those in with my wet wipe to ensure that they're nice and secure. And there we have it. My sunflower is all done and I'm really pleased with this one. So I need to bake my flowers now, and I obviously can't put them directly onto the baking sheet. So basically I've got them suspended in the air by using 2 cups. And the second is to ensure that they don't fall because they're pretty weighty pieces. And again, at this point, you'll need to refer to your own brand of polymer clays baking instructions. So my flowers are all baked and cooled, and thankfully there were no accidents during baking, so I now need to make my stalks green. So I'm using a permanent coloured pen basically, and I'll leave details down below, but you could also use some acrylic paint if you wanted to. And here they are all done, and I'm super happy with these actually. They certainly turned out way better than I'd hoped, particularly as they were all a first attempt. Hope you enjoyed that. Give it a like if you got this far and subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again soon with a new video. Take care, bye bye.